Here's Ethereum on the daily chart, a very nice dip happening right now. We have not even fallen into our range target. And the altcoin market cap chart on the weekly. Two things, risk and momentum. These are the two things we're watching and monitoring as we set up this altcoin season bull move. And I did a video on this. This was Coinbase the other day. Altcoin season is coming. As September approaches, the transition to a full-scale altcoin season is likely. I did a video talking about kind of the data behind that and what Coinbase is looking at in relation to that data. But I want to look at this a little bit differently in this video. I want to use altcoin market cap charts, namely momentum and the structured momentum move that is setting up right now. And I want to look at Ethereum. I want to look at Ethereum right now versus 2020 versus 2017. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. And if you're not in our intelligence system, please check us out. We put our money where our mouth is. We have a free trial going on right now. Get in there and try our risk models, our AI, autonomous AI that's back there, our exit planners that are back there. Start strategizing. If you don't like it, just cancel. Go try it for free right now. I'm going to be using Zero in this video because we have this update being deployed today, a massive update in relation to Zero. Zero is probably the most, it's probably the most powerful and capable LLM, crypto analyst, that is out there right now. So we're going to use Zero a little bit in the analysis of today's video. I want to start with the total crypto market cap chart. This is excluding Bitcoin. The one thing I want to point out to you as we wait, if we look at the chart, we're waiting for this move through all-time high. We're in this consolidation, and I'm going to look at even Ethereum on the daily chart to kind of talk about potential continued downside, what that looks like. We've been waiting for this move. But on this chart right here, we're waiting for the big breakout move. Whether it happens this week, in a month, that's neither here nor there. What I'm watching right now is the momentum oscillator. We already identified, I think previously, the risk for altcoins is still low. We're at a 28 risk score in terms of altcoins. But if we go back to this chart, let's look at momentum, because I think risk and momentum are really powerful tools for this cycle for all cryptos. But on the altcoin market cap chart, I want to point something out to you. When we were leading into the kind of blast off move for altcoins last cycle, we had structured setup. It was a higher high, higher low formation, this kind of wedge of higher highs and higher lows that was setting up. What I want to point out to you is this kind of move right here in December. We're going to dig into the Ethereum data in this moment, but check out that move in December, right before the blast off. This dip to the moving average on the RSI. Well, check out where we are right now. We have different structured setup right now in terms of how altcoin market caps and momentum are setting up, right? Completely different looking than back here. We actually have lower highs right now. But what I'm watching is kind of this short to midterm season that we are in right now. And keep in mind, even the Coinbase Q3 that we're in into September, into Q4, the Coinbase data in relation to their altcoin season analysis. Keep that in mind as we're looking at this little consolidation phase. Here's the moving average on the RSI. My question is, are we going to get a little revisit, pull into that area, very similar to kind of how it pulled into the RSI area back here? And then it was boom, altcoin season. Are we going to get something similar? Is that the setup? We'll get a hint of that on the Ethereum daily. Or can the altcoin market cap chart start making a move even sooner and break this lower high trend line? What I want to do is I want to look at Ethereum, namely the Ethereum risk model that we have right now. So Ethereum, if we go to the Ethereum risk model, is sitting at a 57. You might be like, that sounds kind of high. I want to go over here, and by the way, I have this in kind of the staging test area. This will be deployed live for our members today. This update of Zero is already powerful, but this next update, even more powerful. We even have some kind of getting started suggested prompts. But I want to say, Zero is trained on all of our data back here, all of our risk models. And right now it's trained on a lot of just data outside of that. So I first want to say, what is ETH risk score? And while it's doing that, I want to just point out what we're about to do, or at least what I'm about to ask Zero. And this is even in relation to the altcoin market cap risk model. I want to grab data back here from like December 2020 and even back here in like the 2017 area, like April 2017. Because when we're zoomed out on a chart, you see these arrows. This is where I think we are. And that plays not only into the charts, but it plays into kind of where I think we are from a business cycle perspective. I've talked about this nonstop. Let's go see what Zero is saying. So Zero is saying it's at a 56.71. That's the risk score of Ethereum. So I typed out this question, and this is what I want to ask Zero right now. Considering the ETH risk score is the same as the pre-parabolic move in December 2020 and even to April 2017, analyze the ETH charts, fundamentals, and even business cycle. Tell me what you think happens next going into the end of 2025 and 2026. So if we press send, this is what I'm asking Zero essentially. And I want Zero, it's going to start typing and start answering, but I wanted to I kind of left it more broad, and I want to see what it says in relation to this. So again, it's breaking down what does a risk score right here, similar risk score that we had back here on Ethereum and here on Ethereum, what does that mean for Ethereum this cycle? Like what could happen? And I'm asking it to consider things like fundamentals, and I'm asking it to consider things like the current business cycle. So if we look at what Zero's saying, ETH risk score context. Let me zoom in here. Current risk score, 56. Historically, ETH entered a multi-month parabolic uptrend following similar risk levels. ETH price charts. ETH typically rallies in the year following Bitcoin halving, supported by institutional inflows and broader market cycles. Current levels near 38,000 or 3,800 to 4,000 seem to be consolidative, potentially setting up for breakouts. On-chain fundamentals. So it's pulling in on-chain fundamentals, will provide insights into long-term holder conviction. Rate cuts. The Fed's anticipated rate cuts, and this is an awesome recent update of Zero as well. It's taking into account those types of things, right? So you can have a conversation with Zero in relation to our proprietary data, your exit strategies, and everything else going on right now. The Fed's anticipated rate cuts in 2026 could fuel risk on sentiment, benefiting crypto. Continued inflows into Ethereum ETFs will drive demand. Regulation, so favorable crypto regulations globally, all the things that I've been talking about. So I'll fetch the live ETH price data and bull bear analysis. I'll put relevant on-chain metrics. I'll analyze historical risk-based performance. So here's what Zero's coming up with. ETH price today, 4,300. Giving all the market cap fundamentals, all that good stuff. Business cycle macro environment. The Bitcoin, dude, Zero just throws out data all over the place. I'm not going to read through all of this. The Bitcoin halving historically initiates new crypto. Fed's rate cuts in December 2024 and stabilization, broader institutional adoption of crypto. Looking ahead, ETH has the potential to reach $8,000 to $10,000 driven by institutional inflows, a supply squeeze, layer 2 adoption, and a strong macro tailwind. Key resistance level 6,000. Psychological, 8,000 historical extension. So 2026, Ethereum could enter a parabolic phase, potentially targeting 12,000 plus if adoption accelerates and macro conditions remain favorable. So it's actually giving price targets. So my kind of question was, what's the general vibe of Ethereum? And Zero's giving some price targets. Obviously, no one knows, not even an AI that is incredibly trained on so many different pieces of data. And by the way, our risk models, not just Zero, but like our risk models bring into account a lot of different data. Our risk algorithm, emerging asset theory, game theory integration, price, volatility, volume. So Zero's kind of throwing out there like the $6,000 to $12,000+ range. I think it's interesting because if we go to Ethereum on the weekly chart, we even have kind of this swing high back here, resistance in December 2024 to swing low. There's this first target of around like almost $6,000 at a 1,618, this higher high Fibonacci. And then we have this range up to $10,000. This range right now for Ethereum is looking so nice. So even, our risk models, all of our data, but even Zero now, this update in Zero is kind of suggesting that this is very realistic. So accumulation at current levels while observing risk levels, 56, could lead to outsized returns going into 2025, 2026. So pretty interesting analysis, but what does that mean for the short term for Ethereum and altcoins? It's completely separate stories, because even with that bullish sentiment, that bullish outlook that Coinbase is offering, that our risk models are even offering if you study the data, and Zero is offering on the short term, on the daily chart, just look at it. We've talked about this potential pullback now to the 50 and the 20. And since actually recording, I think my last video, you can see where I drew these lines. Look at these look at the moving average lines moving closer into Ethereum, right? So the 20-day moving average now about $4,000, almost 4,100. The 50-day moving average around 3,500. So they're moving up. They're pulling into Ethereum. But at the end of the day, we are looking for that range potentially for Ethereum to kind of revisit. And it might not. We might fall deeper into the apex of this multi-year triangle setup that we've been tracking for just so long. But either way, I want to mention something to you. If I go to Ethereum on the weekly, you know what's incredibly normal on a chart like this is a throwback to the trend line itself, right? Boom, before continuation. So keep that in mind as well. But we have our targets to the downside on Ethereum on the short term. Again, it's like $3,500 to around $4,000. That is in play. And we're sitting at around $4,300 right now. That's a short-term move. For me, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to analyze all of the data that is going on right now. This is a massive reason, besides just being excited to build a company within the crypto space and offer tools that are just hardly available to anybody. This system is built for me, so that I can manage and just strategize around data, so that I'm not using emotion to make decisions, and so that I'm not round tripping bull moves. And also so that I'm not becoming so discouraged by kind of consolidation and the unknown of charts. I'm just focused on data, everybody. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm still focused on the low risk score for altcoin markets. I'm focused on what this number means for something like Ethereum as it relates to previous cycles, bringing into play business cycle data, macroeconomic cycle data. So I think kind of sitting here and chatting with Zero about all of this, and I can continue the conversation. I could say, help me plan my strategy for ETH, and have a conversation with Zero based on kind of our current conversation. And that's what Zero is there for, to kind of strategize, to help. And again, the most capable crypto LLM right now, the crypto strategist that we have right now. I'm incredibly excited to release this today. This is the next update of Zero, and there's going to be more. So we're just getting started in terms of this system, everybody. If you want to try it out, go try it out and start strategizing, start planning. If you don't like it, just cancel before the 7 days is up. Very simple. But either way, this is my analysis today. This is everything that I'm using for my own analysis. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, turn notifications on, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.